Dick Tracy, the hard-boiled detective with the iconic yellow trench coat, the square jaw, and a lineup of grotesque villains that could only exist in the pages of a comic strip. He's been around since 1931, inspiring generations of crime stories, comics, and even the 1990 film starring Warren Beatty. But here's the question that puzzles me and many fans. Why has Dick Tracy not been remade today with all of the reboots? Despite the popularity of comic book reboots, dark detective stories, and superhero films, Dick Tracy has never received a modern remake. Not a gritty reboot, not a high-tech reimagination, nothing. So why is this? Because, dude, this thing would be popular today. First, a quick refresher. Dick Tracy was created by Chester Gould in 1931, debuting as a daily newspaper comic strip, known for its crime-fighting storylines, innovating use of gadgets, and over-the-top villains' names like Flat Top, Pruneface, Breathless Mahoney. It becomes a cultural phenomenon quickly. Tracy even influenced real-life police work in its high-tech gadgets. Some inspired early forensic and surveillance tools. Tracy has appeared in radio dramas, serials, and films. Most notably, again, Warren Beatty directed and starred in the 1990 movie. The film was visually stunning, staying true to the comic's bright, colorful, and stylized world. But even with critically acclaim, it didn't exactly kickstart a franchise boom like Spider-Man or Batman. So the question is, why hasn't anyone brought him back for modern audiences? Let's take a look. Aesthetic and tone. Dick Tracy's world is unlike anything else in comics. The hyper-stylized, almost cartoonish cityscape clashes with today's trends toward gritty, realistic, and crime dramas. Filmmakers struggle to find a balance between homage and modern sensibility. However, I think you could turn it into a modern-day thing with the cartoonish characters still. Unlike superheroes like Batman or Spider-Man, Dick Tracy doesn't have the same mainstream recognition with younger audiences. A new movie risks being met with confusion rather than excitement. Here's another part. Does anybody really know who the Eternals were before they came out? Villains that are too over the top. Tracy's villains are memorable, but their exaggerated features and gimmicky names can feel a little campy by modern standards today. Translating them into something appealing for today's audiences is tricky without losing what made them iconic. I can get with that one. Here's the big one. Copyright and rights issues. The rights to Dick Tracy are complicated. Though Warren Beatty's film was a passionate project, new adaptations would require navigating a web of ownership rights that could make a remake financially and legally risky. Ding, ding, ding. With the rise of Marvel and DC and other cinematic universes, a standalone Dick Tracy film may not seem like a profitable gamble. Studios may fear that a period detective story can't compete with the superhero blockbusters. I do disagree with that because I think Dick Tracy was a blockbuster, and it's right. Hope isn't all lost, though. So what would make a modern Dick Tracy, and what would it look like? A neo-noir reboot? A streaming series exploring dark crime stories of the 30s with faithful comic homages? Hey Netflix, this is you. Animated adaptations preventing the comic strip visuals? Haha, could possibly happen. Anime is pretty popular. With the popularity of shows like Peaky Blinders and movies like The Joker, there's clearly an appetite for stylized crime stories. A careful balance between nostalgia, innovation, and the dark realism that could finally bring Dick Tracy back. So why hasn't Dick Tracy not been remade? The answer is a mix of practical challenges, changing of audience taste, maybe, but the internet doesn't lie, and the difficulty of adapting a character whose charm is rooted in the very era he came from. No, really the reason why is because of Warren Beatty. He has very protective and complicated into holding on to those rights. Betty even made a weird TV special in 2008 and again in 2023, Dick Tracy special on TCM, basically to prove he's still using the rights so they don't revert, so no one else can use it. What do you think? Could a modern Dick Tracy work in today's world? My answer is yes. Leave me your answers in the comments because I'd love to know. Or do you just not care? Or is it a relic, a bygone era, and it should just best be left in the pages of the vintage comic books and the 90s movie? Comment below and let's discuss it. Hope that everybody will enjoy it. Give me a thumbs up, like it, subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time. Peace out, home skillets.